no better time than now to speak to our old friend Chael P. Sonnen. Ah, yes, there he is. Why haven't we talked since the end of last year,
Good morning.
Chael? How are you? Good morning, good afternoon. Yes.
That was a nice intro, man. I don't know where we've been. I actually think there was something to that. I want to say, like, I was in town and you invited me in studio, or maybe it didn't match it up, but I'm happy to be back, buddy.
Oh, you're right. When we did the UFC 300 show and you said there was
Yeah.
nothing you would rather do less than be a part of that program.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Well, and that was a little weird on your part. So you did it at the Badara, if you'll recall. Like,
Yes.
is that part of the sausage? So you went live, you went to location, but then you do it from the Badara so nobody can actually see the building or know you're in Vegas. I mean, what's the difference? I just didn't understand that on a serious note. Like, what is the point of going and doing an on location if you're not actually at the location? Serious question.
Okay, well, what location? Are you talking about, like, in the arena?
I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know that networks think that's a big deal. You and I did it one time. You and I got assigned, and it was Demetrius Johnson versus Cejudo, the one that Cejudo won. But they didn't take us to the building, and they didn't even show the building, like, out the window. We just told the audience that we were by the building. I'm purely wondering, like, why does that matter? Why does anybody go on location? If you're not actually on the sideline, what am I missing?
Okay, so that particular one was definitely weird because we were literally in the same city, but not in the arena. For ours, we liked it because we got to do in-person interviews with people who are in town or were in town for 300, i.e. Izzy, Mark Coleman, Marab. Like, I just like the face-to-face, you know? It's not often that we get to do those, so thought it was a good time to go out there. A lot of fighters out there celebrate the milestone, the sport. And as you know, I don't mean to pat ourselves on the back, but we're outlaws. You know, we're bad guys. And, you know, people don't roll out the red carpet for us like they do for corporate shills like you. So, you know, we have to do things on the fringes, on the outskirts.
Oh, you mean you guys? I thought you were including me. I thought it was we are bad guys. You put me on one side and you on the other. Because I have a show right now. It's called Good Guy, Bad Guy. And for the life of me, I don't know why they don't call it Bad Guy with the other guy.
Yeah.
But they act like I'm co-hosting a show with Cormier, who's wonderful, but he's a guest on my show. It's kind of a weird thing. I'm happy to be with you, Ariel. I do think that there's more to my question, though, and I think that you think that I was trying to be funny, so therefore you didn't answer it. I do notice that networks will do that they'll take an on location is a big deal. Maybe it is. Maybe it's something that I miss. I just don't care. I don't care who the announcer is to start with, and I don't care if he's in a room at the Badara or he's live at T-Mobile. That's just me, but I'm not trying to be facetious. I was actually being serious when I asked that question because a lot of networks do it. What difference does it make what town your talent is in?
Yeah, it was more of a guest thing. But by the way, congratulations on the show. I love to see two of my favorite people come together. I actually threw in a suggestion to call the show Helwani Sloppy Seconds because I've done shows with both of you guys, but they didn't like it, believe it or not. Could you believe that? They didn't like I thought it was a great name.
I love it. I think that's wonderful. You were one of the great partners and one of my great friends. I swear on our friendship, I never knew you and Daniel had a show together. When you said that, I actually wrote and texted somebody, go, did Ariel and Daniel used to do a show?
That's good stuff. I like it.
What was your show called?
By the way, when they do one ad read of that show on the broadcast on ESPN, that's more than all the ad reads I got on broadcasts in my 3 years there. Could you believe that?
Yes.
One's more than none.
Can I ask you a serious question?
Yeah.
What was the name of your and Daniel's show?
It was called DC and Helwani.
DC and Helwani. And see, I would watch that. I probably did. I probably saw plenty of clips of that.
It was great.
Seriously. All right, let's get into something.
Yeah,
By the way, is that Roy McDonald at your desk?
Yes.
There's a guy that looks like a Roy McDonald doll. Oh, my God. That's Damian Lillard's hand in front of him. I thought it was a beat-up face, which looked like Roy McDonald after his fight with Robbie Lawler. But it's not. It was Lillard's hand. Well, I believe is looking for a job right now.
Did you see that? He got bounced with Milwaukee, your old nemesis.
I did not see it. I saw that Stephen A. called for it over the weekend, but no, I didn't see that he got bounced. I don't wish anybody a hardship when they're looking for a job.
Yeah, no, I understand. Okay, there's so much to talk to you about, but Chael, I would be remiss.
Is that Robbie Lawler? What was that, Robbie Lawler?
No, this is Roy McDonald.
That's what I meant. Is that Roy McDonald? Because that looks like Rory after the Robbie fight.
Isn't this this is from my friends at Plastic Cell? Isn't this an amazing? Look at that. That's the face he made going into the 5th round. You remember when they had that shot of him and he looked like he was a zombie?
Yeah.
I love this.
You're talking. It is of the Lawler fight. That's exactly what I'm saying.
This is actually of the Lawler fight.
Okay. Well, then that is super amazing. The fact that I saw that, even obstructed with Lillard's hand, and told you that's what he looked like when he fought Lawler. Yeah, that's an incredible job by Plastics.
I want to see them make a version of you from UFC 117. That's iconic stuff. So congratulations. What a moment that was. I was welling up with pride. I felt like it was one of my own, getting, an opportunity to be on the big stage with the legends. Well deserved, well earned. Could I ask, did you have no idea? Did you truly not have any idea that was happening? You had not heard, no rumor, no nothing. Kayfabe or legit? Work or shoot?
No, straight shoot.
Really?
No, straight shoot. I never knew. If you want to know how that got, and there was a big tell. Like, in hindsight, everything is so obvious. I was there when they brought Vanderlei in. They put him in the same chair. They brought him up at the same point in the show. But no, I didn't know. And what I was told, even the day before, is, hey, we're going to come and get you. And after the second fight, right before the BMF, you and Megan are going to go do a live thing on the importance of the BMF. And I never knew, like Glenn is the one that told me. It's like, Glenn, I appreciate the heads up, but I'll be where you need me to be, because I'm contained for 6 hours. So it's not a matter of I have to be at a certain place after the second fight of the main card. I'm going to be here the entire night. But fair enough. It was nice that he told me. And then sure enough, Megan came up, and Megan even had a script. And she said, hey, is there anything you don't want me to ask you? And then she made notes as I responded to her. But the tell, Ariel, is when we went down to the seat said Chael on it. It had a mark. And I remember thinking, I'm like, wow, for this little tiny spot in the show, their producers are so good that they've even got a chair marked for me with my name on it. That should have been the tell, but it wasn't. I didn't know, and I'm really glad. It was a very nice surprise. Very fun.
It was beautiful.
Very fun moment.
You got a little emotional, right?
Well, not that I know of. Errol, I couldn't hear. So, when you're so close and you can't hear the acoustics, apparently John Anik made the announcement, and I heard Anik say something about August of 2010 and that time in California. And I remember thinking, I know where I was in August of 2000. I know the time I was in Oakland. I was fine. Like, I remember thinking this, but I never heard him say you're in. So they were playing the montage, and I got up and I whispered to Megan, and I said, what's happening right now? She said, you're in the Hall of Fame. I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
That was a whole story. But yeah, it was a wonderful moment. You don't get surprised very many times in life, particularly as an adult. Like, I create surprises for children. It was awesome, man. It was a very fun surprise.
Do you consider yourself a Hall of Famer now?
Would I consider a Hall of Fame? No, I wouldn't. I mean, you either are or you aren't, right? But no, I don't think so. I think you have to go in. I don't think a fight can go in. I don't think that makes me a Hall of Famer. I think it makes a Hall of Fame fight. I mean, it's just always been my interpretation of it. Okay. The guys that go in separately, I feel like are in a different class.
And I know this has been a bit of a weird thing between us and elephant in the room, and you're probably wondering, like, what the hell's going on? But there's a reason for it. I actually saved it for this moment. The answer that you are looking for and were wondering about, where I stood, the answer is yes. Of course, I got your text about inducting you, about saying the speech and all that. Of course, it would be my honor. I would love to do it. It would be, it's the greatest honor of my life. So thank you. I will be there. Just let me know the details and I'll make it happen. I'll send in my assistant. We'll be there.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Earl. There's a big part of me that is thinking to myself, I need to grab my phone, because if I asked him that, I sent it to the wrong and maybe I did.
Come on.
And I would have to do it just to save myself from a socially awkward situation.
Come on, it was a good setup. You have to admit, for a minute I got you there. You were wondering where I was going, right? It was a nice setup.
Yes. It was wonderful. And I was kind of thinking that I had presented that. A lot of people don't even know what we're talking about right now, but they also didn't know there was a show with you and Daniel Cormier. So, I mean, there's all sorts of things that we're learning right now.
Okay, Chael.
Can I tell you, speaking of show, you want to hear something cool?
Oh, I would love it.
You talk about Hall of Fame, and I like to look cool in front of my wife.
Yes.
That's a fun thing for me. I like when something happens, and then I can look over to her to make up for all of the times behind where I'm holding a number or something along these lines. So the point is, I'm going to the PFL next week, and the PFL is in Paris. I am going to be one of the commentators for it, and in lieu of payment, I asked that they bring my wife. That's what I asked for. I said, I will come and do the event if you can get me another seat for Miss Brittany. So she's coming out. So now I look like a big hero. She believes that I went behind, and it was kind of like getting the flowers and chocolate. She thinks I booked this whole thing for Paris, but it is rather exciting. I am rather looking forward to it. I haven't really got to do a PFL that's stateside. The last one I did was in Saudi Arabia, just for example. That was nice. PFL versus Bellator. And now all of a sudden we got Jill versus Cedric. Are you familiar with Cedric?
Cedric Doumbe is one of my favorite characters in MMA.
Okay.
But before you continue,
covered him a bunch.
Before you continue, please don't go to the PFL event in Paris. It's Bellator in Paris.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, just
I really appreciate
May 17th.
Hey,
tell me.
Thank you for that. Hey, well, hold on. So Cedric, you covered a whole bunch of Cedric after he had made his debut, but I never knew if you actually liked him or if you just liked how quickly his debut and his quick interview was. But all of a sudden, Jaleel decides not only to cut a promo against Cedric, he decides to cut it against all of Paris. Not only does Cedric suck, the people of Paris suck for thinking and not knowing that he doesn't suck. I'm just going, whoa, wait a minute. This is very reminiscent. Like, I did this same thing, and I was trying to sell some tickets too, and I was smart enough to, like, elbow and wink and let the crowd in on it. But Jaleel does not appear to be doing that or appear to be caring. It's like, hey, dude, from one guy to another, when you gotta walk in there, it's an extra pressure added on your back. And if you're overlooking Cedric, you're making a big mistake. And I don't know how to reach Jaleel. I don't even know how to reach him. This is my message to him. Be careful what you ask for. Sometimes you get it.
So the France crowds have turned into the best crowds in combat sports. I don't know if you saw the WWE event this past weekend in Lyon, France. I've never seen a crowd like this, standing the entire 3 hours. The Bellator, PFL, and UFC events in Paris I actually gave them the award for Crowd of the Year last year. And what I love about what Jaleel has been doing leading up to this fight is everyone that Cedric has fought so far in this chapter of his life they're all fellow Frenchmen. So it's kind of like, okay, who are they rooting for? This guy, to your point, is an American who is saying, F all of you, you don't know anything about fighting. I'm going to take this guy down. And there's gotten to be a little bit of heat between them, right?
Yeah. Mike Cogan just texted me and said, I can't believe you called us PFL. You're fired. That's a joke, right? That's a joke, right? He didn't really just fire me.
No.
Kogan, I'm sorry. I got it an extra plug. I knew what I was doing. Ariel, the whole idea that you're going to just go take somebody down, I mean, conceptually, this is very lazy, and conceptually, it dates back to 1993. And we started to work out the fact that you can't just take people down with Marco Huas, my favorite fighter ever, but then Don Fry kind of shared in that, and then Maurice Smith made it crystal clear it's not enough to be a wrestler. But then you have to fast forward until we got reminded of that. I put Holly Holm in that category. Israel Adesanya gets the most credit for it. Jose Aldo, who's never had a wrestling match and now all of a sudden is in the top 8. I mean, right? Like, there's been this time where we find out Mr. Wrestle doesn't necessarily win the day. So it kind of surprised me when Jaleel comes out with such a threat. It's like, man, if I had $1 for every time somebody told Israel Adesanya, I'll just take him down. I was like, go ahead and take him down. What are you going to do then? Are you going to damage him? More importantly, can you keep him there? More importantly, can you take him down again and again and again? People love to say 80% of fights start on the ground, which is a really great slogan if you're running a jiu-jitsu gym, but 100% of those fights start standing up.
Amen. So do you think that Cedric...
You can't get this. You cannot get this. You wonder why I'm in the Hall of Fame. You can't get this anywhere.
You lost me with the 80%, 100%. I'm not going to lie, but I just thought the best response to that was amen and move it along.
May I tell you?
Yeah.
May I tell you? They used to love to say, right, it was very hard on a grassroots, which is the martial arts gym. If you had a karate gym, you could stay in business. If you had a taekwondo gym, you could stay in business. You've never to this day seen a wrestling gym. Like, that's something you have to do in the schools. You don't get people to sign up. So jiu-jitsu, when they were trying to explain themselves to people, would use that as a moniker. They'd say, hey, listen, you're out there learning self-defense. 80% of fights go to the ground. And it's true. And they signed a lot of people up. I'm just here to correct. As great of a slogan as that is, I'm here to tell you 100% of those fights start standing up. You better learn how to do that. You're not going to go into a bar or into a parking lot and lay on your back. No matter how much you think you are, the other guy turns and walks away, says, I already beat you.
And you're certainly not wearing pajamas while doing it at the bar.
You're not going to do it. No. You're not going to do that. No.
Doumbe, I think, has a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I don't know if you saw his last fight, but there was a controversy because of a splinter in his toe, and then they called the fight off. How do you feel about how this was handled? How was this handled? Was it handled right or was it handled wrong by Mark Goddard?
It was handled right by possibly the best referee to ever do it, not named Big John McCarthy. Hey, listen, that's a hard spot to be put in, by the way. That is one of those things where hindsight. We're going to have to go. We're going to have to time out. We're going to have to get a review. And hey, Mark, did you get this one right? Mark had never seen that before. He'd never been in a position where he'd go, yes, this is just like the such and such fight in 1999. It had never happened. Oh, and by the way, he did get it right. And oh, by the way, Big John McCarthy did weigh in and say Goddard did exactly the right thing. Errol, I didn't know what was happening. And my one and only gripe is, I didn't know you would stop a fight. You definitely have to stop that moment. He's signaling the ref. You have to stop and look at it. Then, by the way, we don't get a timeout. You remember the great Matt Hughes, but he'd call timeouts in all of his fights. And someone finally said, man, there is no timeout. If you have to stop, you lose. And that's right. That is right. Going back, if you got to stop, you lose. There are no timeouts.
Have you ever been to Paris?
Respectfully, of course, to Matt Hughes.
Sure,
you
sure.
remember those when he used to always call a timeout. I go, man, what are you doing? And the referee didn't have the courage to do it. You remember the great Mark Hall? But Mark is the one that got the assignment the night that Aljo became world champion. And so many referees said, you cannot give a world championship based on a disqualification. It's like, yes, you should. If the guy cheats, we defer to the remedy in the rules, and it is disqualification. Mark Hall was right.
In pro wrestling, though, if the champion cheats or gets DQ'd, they keep the belt.
That's right. That's right. It must be, or a timeout. It must be submission or pinfall.
Right. Not even a count out.
That's
right.
Right.
Have you ever been to Paris?
I'm rich. Come on. Have I been to Paris? I've been all over the world. Errol, you want to know one of the great disappointments of the world is that piece of iron that they stick out in the wall and call the Eiffel Tower. I mean, if you get there and your life work was to get there, which is kind of how I felt when I took plane, train, and automobile to get there, and I'm standing there looking and go, man, that's it. Allegedly, there's an elevator inside that'll take you up, and there's like a coffee shop. I didn't see it. I didn't see any coffee. I don't know when they put an elevator in this thing. That thing sucked.
Wow. Okay. I like this. A little heat with Paris. The reason I asked was, and also you answered another question.
Heat with Paris. I don't even think they built it. And if any one of them did build it, their ancestors are long dead. I mean, I don't know. We got the Statue of Liberty was a gift to, I'm imagining somebody gave, who wants to put a big piece of iron in the middle of nowhere? Like, how are you going to sell that idea to reasonable people?
It's one of the wonders of the world. But are you so rich, Chael, that you say to Bellator, hey, don't pay me, just bring my wife out? Are you that rich? Because I can't imagine that your fee for the night is like $2,000. That's a flight from Portland to Paris. Like, come on. Who cut this deal for you?
Well, perhaps I'm a sucker. Perhaps I should have checked the cost of tickets, and maybe I am. There's a reason that Kogan jumped at this so quickly, but until right now in this moment, I thought it was a good deal, man. I'm pumped that she's coming. She and I never did a honeymoon, and I felt like going to Paris. Maybe we'll see the Eiffel Tower, something like that. They got great. You want to know what they've got that's very good in Paris? This might surprise you. Is pizza.
Really?
There is a huge Italian immigrant population, and they come over, and yes, it's one of those situations where mom and pa live there. They open it. They work different hours in Italy. They have a 6-hour work week, which when I'm governor, which isn't all that far away, is what we're going to do here in Oregon. There's no more of this 40 hours a week and you work to live as opposed to live to work. It's a very strange situation. And that's something that they have right, and the food is really good. It made its way to Paris.
Wait a second.
Which is great news, because if you get there and you see the Eiffel Tower, you're going to leave awfully disappointed.
Frank, we hit the breaking news. Oh, it's perfect.
Can I guess? DC and Ariel had a show.
We had a show. I don't know where Frank is. Apparently he went, he stepped out. It's a tight operation we're running here. But the question that I was just going to ask you about, follow-up, did you just
realize Joe's working today? Like when I called in, I dealt with Joe. You don't think Joe was named Frank, do you?
No, Joe, but he doesn't usually press the button. I wanted the breaking news button. There it is. Thank you, whoever did that. Certainly not Frank. Did you just announce that you're running for governor?
Joe. It's well, I didn't announce it like
this is it.
It's come out, but yes, I will. I'll be governor soon. That was very nice of you to give me breaking news. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's huge news.
Thank you for that. But no, this is not an announcement of a candidacy, and I actually have to clear that up. That is a legal term, candidacy, and it's no, I do not have.
When do you think you'll do this? When do you think you'll do this?
Joe, speaking of Joe, the guy you called Frank, Joe. When I called in, do you want to know what he asked me? Do you want to know what an insult? Do you want to know what Joe asked me?
Yeah.
He asked me. This is the quote. This just happened. I swear. He said, Chael, can you count to 5? I couldn't believe it. I said, could I count to 5? I can count way higher than that. I actually said that to him. I was about to hang up. I was so mad, and then you popped up. Can I count to 5? Why would he think I couldn't count to 5? Why would he possibly think that?
You've been hit in the head, last time you were
Bellator,
Bellator,
not
Paris, May 17th.
The Zone, May 17th. I mean, I could go on and on. Jaleel, Cedric. Hey, it is really a thing, though. I truly haven't seen it. Maybe I am personalizing a bit, and trying to punch my own ticket. But you don't see a guy take on a location very often. I mean, the fact that Jaleel thought he didn't have his hands full with Cedric, and then, oh, by the way, thought he would just turn the crowd against him, it was kind of cool.
Oh, no, it's great. I love seeing Cedric back. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to say you don't usually see a guy say, don't pay me, but, bring my wife out for $1,000 airfare. I thought you were going to say
I'm
that.
going to price line those tickets. I might have made a bad deal.
Yeah, no, it's, this show hasn't happened yet. Can I ask you about Ryan Garcia? Who better than you? Who better than you?
The show hasn't happened yet. Do
Yeah.
you suggest I'm not a man of my word?
Well, no.
I
I'm
would
just
never
saying.
go back to my word. The Ultimate Warrior used to do that to Vince.
Oh,
He
you
would
turned
look
the
at the
gun.
house and he would demand money before he walked through the curtain. Rest both of their souls, one's life and one's career. But I'm just saying, I am a man of my word. I will be there.
Okay, fair enough. Austrian, what is this Austrian, and what do you make of this whole story with Ryan Garcia? Do you think he knowingly took something? Do you think it's the supplements? Okay. Please, who better than you, right? Who better than you? Tell us.
Okay, let me try to do this quickly because there's only one commonality within all the different places you look. It's not New York State Athletic Commission. It's not Garcia. It's not Haney. It's not the fact that VADA has never made this announcement, that VADA has never confirmed it, that VADA has done nothing and has no judicial authority. None of that. The one commonality in every which way that you look is that VADA exists. Why would Ryan Garcia voluntarily put himself under an extra microscope? It's not as though there's not drug testing. There is. It's not as though there's not governmental authority. There is. Why would you go to an extra step? So this comes out, by the way, partner. This is about 8 days ago, roughly, but it's about 8 days ago that Devin Haney, the opponent, the defeated, upset opponent, makes the announcement that Ryan cheated. It never gets backed up. It doesn't get backed up by the only people that matter, which is the New York State Athletic Commission that can adjudicate this, but it doesn't even get backed up by VADA. Ryan Garcia backs it up. He comes out on social media and says, yeah, sure enough, we got these results, and the only thing that I was on was tequila. Well, you can't put the toothpaste back in that tube. So now you got the world of boxing that thinks he's cheated. You got the world of MMA that doesn't care. You got Conor McGregor that told him, and I quote, to kill himself, which is way too extreme. But he said, did you see that?
Yes.
I'll say it to be funny. He actually put that, and I believe he deleted the tweet, all because he believed what turned into be nothing more than nonsense. So now you fast forward, we've got Haney saying nothing, who started this whole diatribe. You have VADA, who's involved and has yet to announce that they are. You have the New York State Athletic Commission, whose executive director resigned, not related. Kim Sumbler, one of my absolute favorites, but she did resign. So now getting a phone call back and getting information becomes very challenging. And all the while, you have Ryan Garcia, who entered voluntarily into something he didn't need to volunteer for. It was a big mistake, Ariel.
Okay, but what about the fact that this Austrian substance has been found in supplements, right? So do you believe this, that it could just be a case of you took something and it was in there? Or do you believe there's more to it?
Yeah. No, I believe that. Listen, and this will confuse most people. And the reason I'm not going down the Austrian and the nastrazone and the milligrams and picograms road with you, it's just because we're going to lose absolutely everybody. But there are plenty of times, in reality, there are plenty of times where a guy took a banned substance that was unknowingly tainted with a different banned substance. It's very common where you could pass a lie detector's test. You could hand to God, I never meant to take that. And you're telling the truth. Now you're also going, whew, that they missed X, Y, and Z. That's a very possible thing. There's very seldom times, though it does happen, when a person unknowingly is taking a banned substance. There are proven actual times. Some people go, how do you not know what you're taking? It's your job to know the rules. Why'd you drink this, shoot this, rub this? There is actual times where you are dealing with a dum-dum and other people around him will slip him something. Ryan Garcia definitely qualifies as a dum-dum.
Wow. Okay. It's an unfortunate...
Yeah, he's clean, man. Here, you want me to get right to it? He's clean if you're talking about anabolics.
Right.
Anabolics, which in this order make you bigger, stronger, faster. In that order, he's clean.
Yeah, and yesterday, Dan Raphael, who first broke this story, said that the presence of nandrolone wasn't actually confirmed. There was some doubt as to whether or not it would be confirmed. That is a anabolic steroid, but it didn't show up, and I think that further backs your point.
Yeah. No, I think it's an unfortunate spot. I think it was a bad look by Haney. But I get sour grapes. I get the whole thing. Garcia coming out and speaking. You can't unfry that egg. You want me to return my time in our sport. And USADA, God bless them, but they changed their policy. They were even able to look at themselves and say, we made a mistake here. Josh Barnett, Junior Dos Santos, and Little Nog in the same month go down. And in the same month say, wait a minute, we didn't do this. They lost all of their sponsors. They lost an ability to fight. Their name will forever be smeared online. And what else do they have in common? They all three told the truth. They were innocent. And USADA said, listen, moving forward, we are never going to announce this until it's absolutely adjudicated. Then and only then will we present our findings. And that was the right move. I get that USADA's moved aside, but it was the right move by them, and they get a lot of bad press. They deserve a little good press when they get it right.
Just curious regarding substances. Which substances were you on when you thought that Pantoja won 5-0?
I don't know where he lost. I don't really understand that. And they're so common, Errol. Even for the most experienced within our sport, they still default back to pride days, which is, if I look at this fight as a whole, or this was a back and forth and it was really close, and therefore it can't be 5-0. You can have a really close fight, a really, really, really close fight that's still 5-0. It's a 10-9 must system. I don't know what round Usyk won. And I will admit for you, I'm alone on that. A lot of people don't agree with me. I'm very biased towards Sean Strickland. I find him to be one of the guys I'm closest with in the whole sport. I don't know what round he beat Dricus in. I'm the foggiest idea. People don't agree with me. Maybe I shouldn't be judging, but I don't know where Usyk beat Pantoja.
At least the fourth round. I mean, even Pantoja himself says that he concedes the fourth round.
Yeah. That's a surprise to me. Yeah, I didn't see it that way.
Okay. By the way, what is it like being friends with Sean Strickland?
He's a very nice guy. Sean, very early, I would put Sean as far as a gentleman. That's not a word that you're going to use very often. He has gone out of his way at time on a personal. He's gone out of his way to stop and come over and greet me, say hello, ask about my family, something like this, where he never needed to. I could have left the room and he could have, he never even saw me. I find him to be a gentleman. He used to be a training partner. I was trusting him with my safety and he was a great training partner. I mean, everything. And then somewhere along the way, he thought, I'm going to go after the crazy market. And I didn't know there was one. I didn't know we had a market for what he was doing. And it made me a little nervous. But yeah, when you ask about Sean Strickland, he's a great guy. Great guy.
You like this Costa fight for him?
That's a hard night out. That's a very tough night out right there. I liked when Sean was arguing and even digging in that he should be the number one contender for his very belt. So to find that he's on the card of it, I just share with you, he's got to fight Costa. He's also the backup fighter, whether they want to say that or not. And I think that's a nice, what do you call booby prize? What do you call it for a consolation? Consolation is the word I'm looking for. Look, Costa's a hard fight. Do I like the fight for? No. I don't like Costa for anybody. How do you like that fight? That's a war.
By the way, when you say backup fighter for what? For the eventual title fight?
No one knows. That's the thing is no one knows. That's what they never explain to us. They don't tell us the difference between Max or DAZN. They're just words people throw. They don't tell us what PFL is versus Bellator. No one knows for sure. But it's one of those things. Who's Peter? Who's Don? Who's Kogan? It's one of these things. It's you gotta be in the know. Ostrogene, Nastrazone, milliliter, picogram. You got to know what you're talking about. Hawani and DC. No one knew.
Good guy, bad guy. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Let's be honest.
To 5? Why would Joe think I couldn't count to 5? What a weird thing to ask somebody.
And I was just curious, your friend Colby Covington put out a video where he put out these stipulations, and then it seemed like they went back and forth, and now he's saying that he's not interested in this fight. This fight does nothing for him, the Ian Garry fight. How do you feel about all of this? It feels like we've gone down a path where they have to fight at this point, no? Why go through all that?
Incredible troll. It was such an incredible troll. So this is all Colby's idea. Colby calls for the Garry fight. Garry accepts. Generally, you're all done. Generally, you're done. Put your swords down, pick your pens up, sign the paperwork, and we're done. Colby then denies it. Colby tells him no. Colby puts out a list of demands to Garry, who accepted the challenge. This was some of his finest work. You see Colby out there on the yacht, where he's in the suit, he's on the yacht, and he's got his own camera crew. It's got the backdrop, and he's addressing what Gary's going to need to do. Gary's looking around going, what I need to do, it was your idea. I've agreed to your idea. It was a masterful move by one of the greats. When Colby Covington is gone, you are going to miss him. Mark my words.
No, there's no chance of that. But why not accept the fight?
That's surprising.
What?
Why not accept the fight? Oh, he'll fight Garry. Oh, yeah, of course he'll fight Garry.
You think so?
Colby's, yes. Oh, yes.
You think June 29th? Conor card?
I like June 29th because if they don't do it on the 29th, they're going to end up in a main event spot. I don't like that. I don't look. Colby Covington's career is a absolute riddle. Let me just give it for you, okay? He was the clearest number one contender in any division and could not get a title shot. Now, the answer to that is because he'd already had two. I get it. But he beat the BMF champion, but he did not become BMF champion. He was the interim champion who one morning woke up without losing and was no longer the interim champion. His entire career has been a real, you know what? I like him on June 29th. I'd like him to have the attention. I'd like him to have those other guys on the stage. Let's see who the real man around here is. And above all else, I don't like the idea that they're getting him for 5 rounds and not putting straps up. Put him on the 29th. Let Conor and Chandler do the heavy lifting. Let him have 15 minutes. That's what I say.
Would you suggest this to him? Like, does he ask your opinion?
No, very unsolicited.
Okay.
Very unsolicited does he come to. Would I suggest it to him? Yes, I would. Well, but he very, very unsolicited. I read places. I'm his mouthpiece or I'm doing it for him. Very, very, very rarely does he ask me what I think.
Your level, and I'm just hitting you with some quick ones. It's so rare that we get to talk to you these days because you have all these other shows that you're doing. Apparently, I hear the promos for them all the time. So I'm really appreciative of this. Chael.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
George and Nathan, your interest level? It's been moved to July 6th now in Anaheim. Boxing match, your interest?
Did not know that. George and Nathan, I support anything that Nate does, and I hate anything that George does. So, I mean, there you've got me. But let me take you back to the day before UFC 300.
Yes.
In Las Vegas, slap is going on. There's parties going on everywhere. And George and Nate hold their first press conference. And I remember, and by the way, PFL is going on, all in the same town. And I remember thinking, and there was no advertisement for Masvidal and Nate. And I remember thinking, this thing is going to fall on its face. And I got contacted about this behind the scenes to be the backup fighter. I don't like the idea of being anybody's backup fighter. And I've never spoke about that. And that's a very serious, I'm not joking around right now. Errol, I thought this press conference was going to fall on its face. And it didn't. This place was packed. It only went for 31 minutes, but on YouTube within 2 hours, it had done over 100,000. I'm checking these numbers. I couldn't believe it because they were going to go to New York, they were going to go to California, and they were going to go to Miami, all promoting this match that I'm in the town of Las Vegas, and I don't even know that it's going on. And apparently they got a real base there. Apparently it's a real thing. I didn't know they moved the date till you just said that. I'm very light on the thing. If you move a date, you just cancel the event. Whether you know you cancel it or not, you just canceled the event. But up until you said that, yeah, man, I thought that they were likely going to have something there.
Well, 2 things. Number one, part of the reason why they had to move it was they were going up against Islam and Dustin, and that to me is a death sentence. Why would you go up against a UFC pay-per-view? Number 2, you were asked to be the backup for this fight. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and I don't like that word. They used a different word because there was no scenario where I would fight with Nate, and they knew that. So it was a different word, but meaning if Nate can't do it, will you take on Masvidal? And I said, absolutely, I will. And you want to know what pissed me off about that? First off, I never got the credit for it. And second, Masvidal came out and said he would do a contract to pay me my biggest bag and not throw his right hand. Now, those are just stupid things to say. To pay me my biggest bag before I ask for it now makes me not respect you as a businessman. I never respected him anyway, but he didn't know that. And then to not throw his right hand like he was Mr. Right Hand. And by the way, in front of everything, I accept. Please put that in the contract. Please put in the contract that you'll pay me a bunch of money and that you won't hit me with your right hand. What does he think I would turn that down? What's next? There's no way in. It's going to be limited. Like, where does this end of his stupidity? And whatever the answer is, whatever he keeps on saying, I accept, George. Keep limiting yourself. I'm going to do all of those things and more. That's why they call me a cheater.
Is this a possibility post July 6th? This is a real thing, because I'm the one who said I always thought that it was a real thing.
On everything. I told you on your show, you were out of the country, and I came on. I was being sequestered in Miami because of George Masvidal. Couldn't leave my room. This wasn't a work. And I came, and I found you in a chat room, and you were barely reading my name. Then you said it's imposter. Then you said it's not Chael. Then you refused to say what I said. Then when you did say what I said, you weren't reading fast. And there was like 5 lines, and you'd read one of them. Or then 5 minutes later, you'd read line number 4. I told you from then it was going to be me and Masvidal, and you blew it off. And I said, man, I'm not joking. And you blew it off. I've never worked you. I've never come on to work. Whether you like it or not, I did not know you and DC had a show. Hand to G. Whether you like it or not, Miss Brittany is coming along, and apparently it's called Bellator, and it's not the. I don't know these things, Errol. And whether Joe likes it or not, I can count to 5. I can count to 5 very easily. Do you want me to prove it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you even believe that Joe would ask me such a thing like that? Then you ask me if I want to fight Masvidal. I will fight Masvidal right now. He can use his right hand. He can kick me in the nuts. He can do anything he wants. I will be juiced up, and I will beat George Masvidal anytime. But I won't take the fight from Nate. And this is exactly what I told these J-Browns. Word for word.
That's what else can I say? I can't say anything else. One last thing. Can I ask one? I mean, it's just too good. If we were if we were in the same room, I'd kiss you right now. It's just too good. I love you so much, like a brother.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. I have a staunch background in heterosexuality, but I appreciate that very much. I think that's a very sweet thing. Do you ever feel that way though? Like we even had that tested in this sport. Like it was the world's first ever homosexual fighter. Say, well, then I'm the world's first hetero. So why are we talking about that? Right. Why would that possibly come up? Do you know how embarrassing? I would find that to be a very embarrassing thing.
Which part?
When people start talking about what they like to do privately with their children. No, it's weird, man. The whole thing is weird.
The biggest feud. There's no one better to ask you about this one. Final thoughts. Who do you got? Who's winning right now? Kendrick Lamar, Drake. Please.
I'm getting sued right now. Did you know about this? I'm in a lawsuit. Did I tell you about this?
No.
I'm in a lawsuit for defamation. You want to go back to the honest things that I tell you? I don't know the person's name. So that's what's really hard. It's like, excuse me, how would I defame you if I have the foggiest idea who you are? And I had a problem with that. That gal that Logan Paul is going to marry seems like a perfectly sweet girl, but she's coming after Dylan. It's like, how could Dylan hurt you? I didn't know you existed until you sued Dylan.
Wait, so she's suing you?
What is your question? What is the question that you're asking me?
Wait, she's suing you?
Who? Logan's girl?
Yeah.
No, she has nothing to do with me. I'm bringing that in that she thought she was defamed by Dylan or something to this degree. It's like, I didn't even know you. How could he defame you?
Sure. No, you said you're getting sued.
I can't produce her name for you right now, and I'd like to. She seems like a nice girl. I like Logan. I don't know what her name is.
But who is suing you?
I'm being sued by somebody for defamation. I don't know what their name is. Is it possible? Can you defame somebody that you don't know? Can George Masvidal pay you the biggest bag when he doesn't have a bag and he doesn't know what my biggest is? Could George Masvidal refuse to throw his right hand and want to even put it in a contract if it was sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission? Can Ariel Helwani and DC have a show that no one's heard of until just now? Can Chael count to 5? Will Miss Brittany be at PFL or Bellator? Jaleel versus Cedric. There's some things out there no one knows. Like there's no way to know for sure. It can be discussed and you can speculate, but you can't know for sure.
Love you, Chael. May 17th.
Love you too.
Max.
Oh, the kiss. You were going to kiss me. That was figurative, and I appreciate it. Figuratively, I kiss you back. See you, buddy.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You could get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.